You think I don't know what you've been doing at the drain?
Please, let's talk about this later.
Oh no.
I didn't set out to overhear that night, but sometimes fate forces truths on you that rip through your soul before you're ready to face them. It was nearly midnight when I came back from the store, arms heavy with a cheap bottle of wine and a couple of frozen dinners. The kind that practically scream, "This marriage is hanging by a thread." As I reached the door, her voice sliced through the silence, low and edged with exhaustion. "I can't stand being with him, Sarah. I feel trapped. He's like a ghost. I can't escape." My lungs froze, my chest caved in. Those words stabbed deeper than any knife. I wasn't meant to hear them, but I did, and in that raw instant, everything snapped into place. Marriage begins like a fever dream. Whispered secrets under blankets, vows spoken with fire in your chest, laughter spilling out over nonsense at 2 a.m. And then it shifts. It dulls into habits, long quiet car rides, and the sting of realizing they've turned away from you even in sleep. I met Claire when we were in our early 20s, wild, hungry, chasing futures just out of reach. Her eyes once blazed like I was her whole world. I lived for that look. But slowly, maybe too slowly, the light dimmed. She drifted further, and I turned into routine. I worked my desk job, came home, tried to be steady, tried to be hers, but nothing I did filled the hollow inside her. Standing in that dark hallway, hearing her admit she despised being with me, it felt like my chest was crushed in a steel trap. I could have stormed in, demanded explanations, begged for honesty. But I didn't. Instead, I climbed the stairs, stuffed a few clothes into a duffel, and walked out. No note. No confrontation. If she wanted freedom, I wasn't going to chain her. I drove to a crumbling motel on the edge of town, paint flaking, the air thick with mildew and despair. On that lumpy mattress, staring at the gaudy wallpaper, my mind spun. How long had she felt this? How long had I been just a shadow, haunting her life instead of filling it? The next morning, my phone lit up with her calls, texts, and voicemails. "Where are you? We need to talk. Please come back." The irony was bitter. The woman who couldn't breathe in my presence was suddenly suffocating when I was gone. I let her sit in the silence. I let her taste the emptiness of losing the man she had dismissed as invisible. 2 days later, she showed up at the motel. When I opened the door, she looked wrecked, sunken eyes, tangled hair, her voice shaking as she asked, "Why did you go?" I laughed, sharp and empty. "Do you really need me to spell it out?" She swallowed hard, trembling. "You weren't supposed to hear that." And that was it. Not regret for saying it, only regret that I caught her truth. Something deep inside me fractured. I stepped aside. She stood in the room but refused to sit, like even the chair couldn't hold her guilt. "Was it true?" I asked. Her pause dragged on, heavy, loud in its silence. That hesitation was the answer. Claire, who once spun words like fire, had nothing but empty air. She stuttered, searching for excuses, for lifelines to tie me back to her, but I was already gone. Not just from the room, but from her. My heart had checked out the second her confession spilled. Finally, frustrated, she muttered, "I didn't mean it like that." I shook my head. "You don't say things like that unless they're real." Tears blurred her eyes. "I love you," she whispered, but I cut her off cold. "Don't. I don't need it. I already know how this ends." She collapsed into sobs, but I didn't move to catch her. For years, I was the one aching, doubting if I was enough. Now, it was her turn to face the void, to sit in the silence she created. I never went back. The divorce tore through paperwork and lawyers, but not through me. My recovery wasn't messy. What would have destroyed me before only freed me now. Because staying, that would have been the real prison. Staying in a love that burned to ash, staying in a place where my presence was despised, that would have killed me. Claire reached out afterward, a few times, trying to revive something long dead. But I had already stepped into something better. I found peace. And eventually, I found someone who looked at me like I held entire constellations in my chest.